Hi, Dr. Adelia Krebs here from Tiger Medical Institute. I'm here to answer the question today, what to do if I can't lose weight and how genetics play a role. So not surprisingly, our culture obviously plays a huge role in a lot of people having trouble losing weight. So things like food additives, which make food more palatable, and then poor education around what an optimal diet is. With high carb diets, low protein diets, low vegetable content, kind of spiraling into sort of food addiction and glycemic crashes, and then metabolic issues as a result of that. But a lot of people also have genetic factors that work against them. And before I get into a few of the genetic factors, I will say that any genetic profile can be at their optimal weight with the right diet and lifestyle interventions. So genetics is really not destiny, especially in the area of weight optimization. So I just broke it down into a few categories. So one of them, not surprisingly, is genes that relate to diet and metabolism. Another category is hormone genes can affect our weight. And another category is cognitive and mental health genes can play a part as well. So for the diet and metabolism genes, one of them is ApoA2, and I find this is a pretty important gene because it relates to our saturated fat metabolism. So some people, especially, high achievers and people in fitness and people who want to optimize their cognitive health will often go for something like a keto diet, which can be really good from a weight management perspective and a cognitive health perspective, but not necessarily for people with suboptimal variations of ApoA2. So they're more likely to gain weight when they have a high saturated fat diet, even if it's healthy saturated fats like grass-fed butter and coconut oil, if they're consuming them in excess. And then another one's MC4R. That one's kind of funny because it's referred to as the snacking gene. So it actually throws off hunger cues in the hypothalamus. So that can make us more prone to snacking. The FTO gene is interesting because it affects our satiety, so our ability to feel full. And it's not that we don't get the signal from our stomach to our brain, it's that it happens at a slower rate. So once we get the signal, it's kind of too late. The TCF7L2 relates to insulin resistance and our predisposition to diabetes and high blood sugar. People with suboptimal variations there generally do better with lower sugar diets and lower carbohydrate diets. And then UCP1 affects our thermoregulation and our metabolism. So the UCP1 gene really relates to what we traditionally refer to as our metabolism. If you think you have a slow metabolism, you could have a suboptimal UCP1 gene. So all of those genes are really good to know about. Definitely getting your basic genes tested with a functional genetic company that's recommended by a certified health coach or naturopathic or MD functional doctor is a great place to start. There's also the cognitive health genes. So COMT is a gene that encodes for an enzyme which breaks down neurotransmitters. So it breaks down dopamine as one example of a neurotransmitter there. And people with slow COMT are more prone to binging. So this can relate to binging on food. And then people with fast COMT are more prone to low dopamine, which can make them more prone to addiction. So there's a couple of things we can delve into there. There's also 5-HTT-LPR, which affects serotonin. ADRA2B affects our stress response. So those ones, especially when coupled with other genes like the snacking gene, can make us more prone to stress eating. And then we have our hormone genes, and those ones can affect things like our just overall profile. So I've listed a couple of genes in there. One of them relates to conversion of testosterone to estrogen. So if we're more estrogenized for both men and women, that will make us more likely to put on adipose tissue. If we're less androgenized, again, for both men and women, we're less likely to get results at the gym, build muscle, including lean muscle. So in essence, we have these genes that predispose us to certain behaviors and certain body types, but any of these genetic profiles can attain an optimal weight. And diet and lifestyle are a huge factor, and we get the information when we look at our genes and we have someone to guide us in behavior change in how our particular weight issue came to be. And when we know where it came to be genetically, we're more empowered to make the specific changes that are gonna make the difference.